Happy Place Home Studios.
Hello, and welcome back to our Happy Place Home Studio series on publishing your music online. This is part 4, publishing your music through Distrokid, which is my selected music aggregator partner for getting my music out to as many streaming services as possible, as easily as possible, and as inexpensively as possible. In part 3, we walked through some of the steps and some of the thought processes that you might need to go through to pick a partner to work with. And your criteria are probably going to be quite different than mine. In my case, as you know, I am publishing a CD that we made 20 years ago, and we never thought to publish. We, burned a few copies for our friends. And we went through many of the steps that you might go through to create a decent CD cover and that type of thing, but we never had any thoughts of distributing it. But today it's so easy to do that there's no reason for us not to get our music out there. So both to get it out there and to go through the process and have the opportunity to produce this video series for you, we did so. It's been quite a journey, and it's taken longer than I thought, because we started more than a year ago with the process of getting all of the material for our CD, because it was all original. The CD is called Original Spin. Getting all of it copyrighted. And that took quite some time, partially because of COVID. Then I decided to add a track to the CD that wasn't originally on it. It was the last song that our band recorded together over 20 years ago. And I really wanted to include it, I guess, as a bonus track. Not that anybody will care. But in the process, I decided to add a saxophone and leverage that for a video here on Happy Place Home Studio, and to get the track mastered. So that was all the worthwhile process. But again, even something that seemed so simple added many months to the overall timeline. I did not take a huge amount of time to make my selection of Distrokid, because I don't feel that I have a music career in front of me at all. We're doing this just for legacy purposes. And so I'm not thinking of some of the things that you might really need to think about. For example, I have no plans to market once this is published through Distrokid, which I started that process yesterday. Today is January 1st, 2022. I met my goal of publishing the songs in 2021 by uploading them to Distrokid. So there's a lot of things that we brought up in part 3 that you might need to think about that I did not need to think about. So Distrokid was a very easy, very good process, inexpensive to achieve what I want to achieve. And I'll walk through what I did to get my music published to Distrokid in this part 4 of our series. So let's go ahead and get started on publishing our music through Distrokid. We'll start our journey on the Distrokid site by logging in. I've already got my account created. I've saved my credentials, so I can just hit sign in, and off we go. And right off the top, there's a blue button that allows us to begin to upload our music. The first thing you see is a list of the distributors you're going to be going through, and I did not remove any of the distributors. I had no reason to. Now, the next thing that you see is how many songs are you going to upload. It is very important that you fill out all this information in accurately. So I actually went out and counted the songs again that I'm going to upload just to make sure that I didn't miss any. Because as you'll see, it actually regenerates the screen based on how many songs you're uploading. And if you miss one, you don't have a good way to do that again. So be sure, especially if you're uploading an entire CD or album, that you select the right number. So in my case, the right number was the number on the original CD plus 1 for the bonus track I'm putting in. All right. The next thing that we look at is have you previously published this? Now, we're not talking about did you make a few copies of a CD and give it to your family? We're talking about, did you actually publish it? So in my case, the answer was no. Now, you can see that each of these questions, you should know the answer to pretty much. But here is another important point. Do not do a typo. Once you do a typo, if you don't catch it before you publish, you will not be able to correct the typo. And that is a really critical thing. Now I'm scanning across here. Remember, I'm pretty much blind, so for me to read, I have to do this. But read all the notes. There's valuable, important information there, and you don't want to miss that. So I put the name of our band, The Followers of the Shoe, in here, and we're ready to move on. Okay, the next question that we're going to deal with here is, are you already in Spotify? And the next question is, are you already in Apple Music? And for most of you, the answer will probably be no, but it's very possible that you did something to publish just to one of those. And so you can say that. Now, when I said I'm not in Apple Music here, it actually began a search process to verify that I'm not in Apple Music, and probably just by my email address, but you can continue on without worrying about that search process. Okay. Next thing we want to deal with here is our record label. Now, I don't have a record label, and I did not want to create a record label, which they appear to give you the ability to put in your own record label if you want to. I'm fine just using Distrokid. Again, that's me. That's my level of interest in anything that would go beyond what I'm doing right now. You really may need to think about that, whether you want to have your own record label or you already have a record label and you want to put that in here. So that's an important consideration if you are considering doing so. Now notice, you'll see me try to click on this link and it says I'm going to take you out of this site, which to me means I'm going to lose all the work that I already did, which admittedly is not that much. I could start that process over. The next thing that we're going to deal with is the graphics of our CD. If you have some graphics that you've done for your CD, you're going to be able to upload those here. So I had a bit of an adventure uploading the CD graphic from our original CD to Distrokid. So I'm not going to show you all that adventure. I'm just going to show you the final upload that I did. What I found was that it's not giving you good guidance on how large the image can be or what the resolution should be. So what I ended up loading into Distrokid was the image of a CD cover at 600 dpi. So if you try to upload things, it does start to give you some guidance on the maximum sizes and all that kind of thing. But I'll just tell you that if you're uploading a CD size image at 600 dpi, it will work. Now, if you never made a CD, you don't have a CD size image. So if you want to upload something else, no problem. I would say you want it to be about the size of a CD image and no higher resolution than 600 dpi. While I'm not showing you everything I went through, I will tell you the two pieces of information I stumbled across. The first was your image needs to be smaller than 20 megabytes in size, and the resolution needs to be less than 5,000 by 5,000. So those are the two pieces of information I got. If you try to upload images, you might get that information and some other, but let's go ahead and proceed. So what you want to do here is you're going to locate the image file that you have created, and you're simply going to double click it, and that will load it right in. So there's our CD image from years and years ago, and it looks fine. So I am going to go ahead and proceed. And by the way, their process will check your image later. All right, the next thing that we're going to do is put in what is the title of the album or the CD. Now, this is all presuming you're doing a CD. You might be doing just one song, and then these things will change to to just one song's title, or you just won't need to fill this part out. Okay, and some things you'll start to notice, well, you've got to upgrade if you want to change the iTunes price. I'm not super worried about the iTunes price. I don't anticipate a lot of folks buying our CD, but that is, of course, up to you. All right, and then you can indicate your language, and just going through some of the things here, most of which I did not need to change or want to change. And the genre, of course, is something that you'll want to pay attention to for your band, for your CD, for yourself as an artist, whatever you're recording here. And it's a little difficult to pick, maybe just one or two for your genre. I found some difficulty with that, so I took a good long look at this list and settled on pop and alternative. Probably pop and rock would have been good, but I think alternative might actually be a little more attractive to people these days. So that, of course, is up to you for your music. You do get to name a secondary, as I've already indicated. So again, went with pop and alternative. All right, now things start to get interesting. If you said you're only doing one track, you'll only see one track within the interface here. But if you said you're doing 15 tracks, it has created a duplicate of this entire section 15 times. So that's where I mentioned you got to be really careful now, because you don't want to move off this screen. You don't want to lose your work. So you begin to put all of your title information in, all the information in about the track. And be careful with your spelling. I actually made a typo on my final product. Be careful with it. So we put our first track information in here, and then it just goes through a series of prompts that you'll need to answer appropriately for your songs, of course. The version information, I never did put any in. I could have. We had guest musicians and that kind of thing. But what that does is it changes the title of the song to that version. So you should look on iTunes and some of the other services to see how that appears, to see if you want to use that, if you had something that you want to call out about the title. All right, and as before, what you're going to do is you're going to navigate to where you have these tracks on your system and upload them. And these should be, of course, the final form, WAV files, or whatever format you're using, mastered if you were going to master them, and it's just going to upload, and it will check these files to make sure that they meet the standards necessary for streaming out across all the services you're going to be doing. Okay, if there's any special Dolby or anything that you've added, you can indicate that. That was not a part of what we did, so I did not put that on there. All right, the next part is the Songwriter. And if you, the person who registered with Distrokid, are the person that wrote the song, you can say, yes, I'm the songwriter. But this is a very important component. You've got to make sure that you credit all of the songwriters, especially that if you've copyrighted it and it's on the copyright. And so you can put in the role of a songwriter, music and lyrics, and the name. And you want to put that name in the way that that person wants the name to appear. So for example, for myself, I chose to put, eventually I put in my first, middle, and last name, and I went back and corrected this first one that I was doing here. But I contacted the other musicians, says, how do you want your name to appear? And had at least one other person that said, yeah, first, middle, and last name. So that's important. Okay, so one thing you can check is a review clip start time. Now, I just left it as let the streaming service decide what that should be. But if you want to say, here's the part of the music that I want to be reviewed by somebody who's reviewing it before they listen to it, you can put that in. When you got that in, you just roll through each and every song. So I did this 15 separate times. And in doing so, I realized I wanted to change a couple things, like the way I presented my name. So you can go back and change any of those things. You've got to be very, very careful. You really got to go back and review, make sure you make no typos. And I have some difficulty with that again, because I've mentioned several times I got the vision problem. I actually left a typo in and published the typo out to all of the distribution. One of our songs is called Love Gamble, and I literally left a space between the B and the L in gamble. So that's there, and I don't see any way to correct it. It's unfortunate. So I'm here to tell you, warning you, don't fail to really do a very complete, thorough editing job when you are done putting all this information in. Go back through the entire screen, every single thing you filled out, make sure there are no typos, make sure that everything is correct and accurate. Don't cut corners, because if you did what I did and you're uploading this to 30 streaming services, very, very difficult to undo that. Make sure you're making the decisions that you want to make, and don't be unwilling to start over if you have to, because you don't have information that's available to you right now. Unfortunately, there is no way for you to save your progress and come back and pick it up again before you actually publish. So just be very, very, very thorough. Once you've put all your songs in, double-checked, rechecked everything, and are ready to proceed, after the last song at the bottom of the form you've been filling out with all the information, you can do so. Okay, the first thing you'll be presented with are some premium options. And some of these may be of interest to you, and I suggest that you thoroughly read through them. They always have this link, this click that you can get more information. I was always really worried about trying to do that, because you would leave this screen, and I did not want to lose all my work. But I assume that that's not the case, and if you are interested in more information, you can definitely check it out. Some of these things should be of interest to many of you that might be doing this process. The only one I was interested in was the last one, which is they call Leave a Legacy. And what this does is, even if you let your account lapse and aren't paying for any services anymore, your music will always stay out there. I thought that was worthwhile. It's $50. Now, at the very end here, you acknowledge several things. I'm not going to go through and tell you what they are. You should read them thoroughly for yourself so that you can make sure that your acknowledgments are accurate and correct. And when you are ready to go, you hit the blue button. And what will happen then is that you'll be able to watch as each song is uploaded. And it also goes through a processing, a verification process. And this all takes some time. In addition to this screen and watching the acknowledgments that happen here, you will also receive emails that tell you that each song has been processed and verified. They're checking the audio format. They're checking the volume levels. One of the options you had was a mastering service, by the way. I didn't really look into that at all. I had all my songs mastered. So when that's done, you're in the chute. Your songs are being uploaded at that point to all of the streaming services, and they indicate that takes several days. A service like Apple might go the same day if it's not a weekend or holiday. Now, I happen to upload mine on a weekend and a holiday, so I'll be waiting, unfortunately, until Monday after the weekend to know to start seeing my music, hopefully on Apple, iTunes, or whatever. And that will be the very last segment of this video is to show you my music appearing on those services. Now, they talk about something you should absolutely do: publicize the fact that you have published your music. I'll be publicizing that, to some friends on Facebook. Pretty much probably the same friends that we gave a CD to 20 years ago. So again, not looking for the big, we don't have any delusions of grandeur. So that is the process of uploading your music through Distrokid. I think it's a very clean process. The only things that I had trouble with about it is that idea that I could get hours into filling out that information. It did take me a couple of hours for 15 songs, and I could lose it just by clicking the wrong link and leaving that screen and not being able to get back to it. I think they should have a save my progress. You should be able to save your progress, come back to it, and fill it in. It is all happening against your account after all. And I don't think they do. I looked pretty thoroughly to see if they had a save your progress, and I just didn't see one. So again, can't remind you enough, double check everything that you do. We'll see you in just a couple of days when hopefully I can show you my music on streaming services. Okay, I uploaded the music to Distrokid on Friday, December 31st, 2021. It is now Monday, January 3rd, 2022, and none of the music has appeared on any of the services yet, which is not unusual because Distrokid indicates I don't do it on the weekends. Today's only Monday. It's only halfway through the day, but I'm heading out of town for several months. So I'm going to go ahead and close out this video. You should be able to find our music if you're interested in seeing the end of this story by doing a search for Followers of the Shoe on those services. In any case, I wish you the best of luck with your publication of your music with whatever service you choose to use. Thanks for joining us on this episode at Happy Place Home Studio. We'll see you next time.
If you record and play at home, there are things you need to know. Don't forget YouTube's spot to go. Happy Place Home Studio. There's two of me.